Yo, my peoples, what's up? My name is Jason, and I'm from the Shelf Stories YouTube channel, and I'm here in the Dice Tower today to review Kombo Klash. This is a new game from Hub Games and designer Andrzej Silva. This is a tile laying game for 2 to 4 players, competitive. It is a game of crazy combos. Just check out the box. It won't steer you wrong, right? Well, I'm not going to steer you wrong either. I'm going to take it to the table. I'm going to show you how it plays, and then come back and tell you what I think. So without further ado, let's go to the videotape. Welcome to Kombo Klash. What you see before you is basically everything that comes in the box. It is a 5x5 grid that is created by this mat along with the scoring track on the outside. I have a 2-player game laid out between white and red over here. By the way, I like the colorblind friendly, so different shapes for the player pieces. Good on you for that. So expect nothing less of Hub Games. But I do have a 2-player game laid out. The game, at least the player count, officially scales up to 4. So 4 potential players. Most of the game occurs, or all of the game occurs, through these tiles. Just want to show you the art on these. Wolf and vulture and snake and the kicking kangaroo and all sorts of fun stuff. So at the heart of this game is a tiling experience. And the combo in Kombo Klash is really comboing points together, making adjacencies, and scoring them. So then on your turn, you're going to be able to draw up to 5 tiles, and you'll be able to play as many as you want. So let's say I see an easy scoring opportunity over here. I would play a tile orthogonal to an existing tile or to the draw pile in the middle. But I see an adjacency over here. I'd play it, and then eventually I would score it. I could score it immediately, or I could wait a little bit, let my hand play out and score it. Scoring is easy. You would just flip that. The vultures happen to be worth 3 points. I flipped 3 tiles. So red player is going to increase 9 points. You can play as many tiles as you want on a turn. At the end of your turn, you're going to draw 5 and pass. So where the opportunities to be clever in this game come from are in the tiles themselves. The animals have specific powers, and everybody's going to get a player aid with the 8 monsters, and it'll tell you all the different powers that the monsters have. So let me demonstrate an example of how you can use a 5-tile hand and make as big a combo as you can. Okay, so then first thing I will do is I would use the snake. The snake allows as kind of a charmer. So then that charmer would go on top of here. It would charm this gorilla and bring it into my hand. All right, now I'm starting to see some opportunities to fire off some combos. Cool. So then I have my vulture over here. The vulture would turn over any tile on the stack. So there's a little bit of a memory aspect. I kind of have to remember which tiles are face down. Nothing starts face down, and you cannot ever look at a tile. That's like the big golden rule. Highlight in the rule book, don't look over a tile. It's a little bit of a memory issue, but my memory is decent. I'm going to put that over here, and I recall that this is a chameleon. Chameleons can be any creature in terms of its points, not in terms of its power, but at least it plays into its adjacencies. So now look what I have. I've played a couple of powers. I'm going to string these along, and I look at the row that I have made. I'm going to score 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 points, which is a massive combo. I totally did not set that up at all. This is only a test. So then I would score 21 points for my turn, and I would turn over all of these tiles. There we go. So then once the board fills up, there's going to be a point where there's a lot of these face down tiles and the board's going to gunk up. You just discard them and then you keep on going. So there's that back and forth of who's going to trigger the reset. Am I going to leave my opponent with just a few spaces so that they trigger the reset? So there's a little bit of that back and forth kind of programmed into the game as well. That's basically it. That is Kombo Klash. So that was Kombo Klash at the table. And I'm going to say my positive right off the gate, because I think at the end of the day, although I'm going to have some critical comments to make about this, I really do feel this is a decent game, and I hope that I did a good enough job presenting it so that you can figure out if it's your fun or not. So the part that I had fun with, and I really did, it was really cool, The clever combos. There are clever combos in here. The experience of sitting and having your 5 tiles. And you always have 5 tiles because you draw to 5 at the end of every turn. And looking at the entire board and looking at your hand of tiles and maximizing it, figuring out, how can I manipulate things? How can I, get some tile draw? If there's another tile that lets me dump tiles and draw some more. So there's a lot of little decisions to make in terms of manipulating your hand. Can't manipulate the board too much. I didn't show you the kangaroo. The kangaroo kind of like moves the tile adjacent. So there's not a lot of board manipulation, but there's a lot of hand manipulation with the tiles. And when it all comes together, love it when a plan comes together, and you get that 15-point combo, 18, 20 points even. That's very satisfying. You get that feeling of like, yeah, I did that. And this game gives it to you. And I definitely want to highlight that that's a feature of this game. So then I do have some reservations. First of all, so while the person is playing, their 5 tiles, what are the other players doing? Not much. There's really not much to do at all. So as a 2-player game, that's not bad. So like as a 2-player game, there's a back and forth to it. Maybe the second player will kind of like get a sense for what the first player is going to do, plan their turn. A little bit of like kid chess, so to speak. That's really cool. When you get to 3 and 4, I don't know that like once you finish your round and you draw your tiles, there's no real reason to plug into the game. Because the board state changes, because you have to play a lot of tiles, so the board state changes a lot. You might get a whole reset, or maybe even 2 resets, depending on how successful people are before you go again. So I hesitate to say that this game is great at 3 and 4. You'd have to have a lot of patience as a player with watching the board state play out. Not that it's impossible, but I just think 2 players is the ideal, or the most fun player, can I say, for me. And then that gets into the I guess a criticism that cuts a little bit closer to the core for me, which is, so the game is called, Kombo Klash, right? And it is Clash right there, right in the title, and it has an exclamation point. So it's not just, combo, right? If it was just combo, right? No Clash at all, then I wouldn't expect, I'd expect point scoring, and I expect, adjacency, and I'll get that. But it's called Clash, right? And I'm an American gamer, and as an American gamer with my sensibility, I think of actual clashing. I think my paradigm game here is King of Tokyo, where you have 2 streams of point scoring. You could, get winning. You can point score and do your cards, and that's fine. Or you can roll a lot of claws and just slap your opponent around. Both really, really fun, and I like that they're both there. Here, it's just point scoring, and I miss that. I feel like this Kombo Klash is missing a little bit of, I guess, what I would call in Spanish a picante, a spice to it, where, I found myself wanting to, if someone was going to make a combo, to have another tile that says, well, you interrupt that. And, I could play it outside of my turn or something. Or, I don't know, just something to kind of liven up and make it a little bit more kinetic and clashy. There's another game that this reminded me of. From Zoc Verlag. It's an older design, but I think it's an oldie but goodie, called Beastie Bar. Beastie Bar was a card game, and it's similar in the sense that, like, it was, you had your hand of cards, and they were all animals, and the animals had different powers. And you're playing the animal cards into a central line. And not to go over that whole game, but it was pretty, kind of like mean, but in a fun way. So you play an animal card and it would scare away other certain animals. Or, you would just kind of nuke one animal totally. It doesn't matter what it was. You play your skunk and the skunk gets rid of the monkey or whatever it is. And, you get those moments of like, oh, what'd you do that for? Hub Games. I know Rory, and Rory's a very family-friendly guy, non-violent and all that kind of thing. And I think, in terms of that image of a family that gets together and has like a very, back and forth good time, but with kind of these guardrails where you don't trigger anybody's loss aversion, or you don't trigger that sense of like, being wronged or something. And, that's good for that. That's good for that kind of situation. Me, I like that. I'll trigger my kids wrong, sense of loss or whatever it is, just as the excitement piece. And then, once you exit the magic circle, you're fine. But in that magic circle, let's go to town. And I think by calling the game Clash, it set up that expectation, at least for me. So these are critical points, but at the end of the day, that core experience is still good. And not only is the core experience good, I think there's a lot of room for expansion. There's only eight animals in the base box, and I would be open if they released another set that brought in a little bit more of that, play outside a turn, or interrupt combos, or something, or add more movement. I can't. It's a little bit confounding to me, just kind of as a side thing, that we have a tile laying game that's clashy, but there's not a lot of movement. So then to make the game a little bit more kinetic, something, and there's room in there. I think there's room in there in the design. So I'm gonna give this rating a 6.5. So it falls a little bit short of seal of approval for me. It would be around a 6, just because of the criticisms that I had. But the core experience is really good, and I think there's design room for some of the more aspects that I articulated. Something that's a little bit more alive, more picante, more kind of like gives me that little bit of sense of back and forth excitement that might occur with a game that's about a clash at the end of the day. But if you like, cleverness, if you like, mathy combos, if you like tactile, putting things together in a spatial way, then this game is going to have some things to offer to you and your family. If you want to follow up on me and the rest of my content, then please visit my YouTube channel, Shelf Stories. Shelf Stories is my editorial channel where I go above the table and I have discussions about mental health and culture and history and all the things that are kind of floating above and soaked in our games, and I tease them all out and have great discussions, both my own personal presentations and conversations with all sorts of folks in the gaming community. So this is Jason reminding you, if you could change your mind, you could change the world. So until next time, later everybody.